on and on and on. She had an amazing freshman year as we look at Shafiqua Maloney of Arkansas.
She is the collegiate leader right now at 2:01.74. We talked yesterday, yeah, collegiate lead is nice, but how about the flag bearer for your country in the Olympics? Shafiqua Maloney, 2020 Olympics flag bearer for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and she is going to have a heck of a race next to that young lady, Katie-Ann McDonald of LSU. She's got the 7th fastest time in the country right now at 2:03, and when I talked to Katie, she said, I just got to make sure that I position myself better in this first 400.
2 groups, one of 6 on the inside and one of 2 on the outside. They will stay in those groups through 2 turns and then break for the pole in the finishing straight. And we saw an interesting change of tactic out of Shafiqua Maloney during the qualifying. Usually an absolute dedicated front runner. She hung back, ran her race, qualified easily.
She told me that's because she has a completely different mental approach coming into this season. Her coach, Chris Johnson at Arkansas, is brilliant in that aspect. And she said, listen, we got on the same page. I got off social media. I got rid of all the outside noise and distractions, and I've just been focusing on my running. And Dwight, you know, as an athlete, when your mental psyche is good, your physical training is even better.
No question. So it's the 2 that we highlighted right up front, Shafiqua Maloney and Katie-Ann McDonald sharing the lead early on.
Katie-Ann McDonald loves to get out quickly. She wanted to run a 59.60 first lap, and she is right there immediately, perfect at 60. And she said, this is the 200 that I've got to make sure that I don't fall asleep in. She knows Shafiq was going to be on her shoulder, and you have to make sure you keep your stride length and your turnover very quick here and not fall asleep.
60.2 at the 400. McDonald setting the pace. Maloney happy to follow.
Look at Maloney's shoulder. She's in second with the white and the Arkansas Razorback on her chest. Look at her cheeks right now. You see how relaxed her cheeks are? This is where you're going to make that move, and keep an eye on Florida's Imogen Barrett coming in from 3rd place, a little 4 on her hip.
Imogen Barrett now making a race out of it, recovering from COVID last year, coming back even stronger. Maloney now taking the lead. McDonald spending a lot of energy pacing that, does not have a response. Barrett starting to run out of gas. Maloney lifting nicely in the finishing stretch. No one's going to catch her. The senior from Arkansas is going to finally win this title. McDonald 2nd, Barrett 3rd. Lloyd Barton of Clemson, the senior, will start out in 8. They have 2 groups, one of 5 and one of 3. They will stay in these groups through 2 turns and then break for the pole on the finishing stretch. Arkansas does have a scoring opportunity here with Shafiqua Maloney in this field.
Well, we highlighted the 2 ACC athletes. They were burning it up at those championships. The 800 meters was a really hot event for them.
So for Baylor, this is Aaliyah Miller who has chosen to lead through the first 200 meters, 27.7.
Aaliyah Miller went 2:02 at Iowa State just a couple of weeks ago. So she definitely has potential.
It's Claire Seymour for BYU, currently in 2nd, with Shafiqua Maloney of Arkansas in 2nd. It means Baylor's Aaliyah Miller has a nice gap there on Shafiqua Maloney. And at the first 400, it's a blistering 56.9 by Aaliyah Miller. The rest of the people in the field thought, yeah, I think she may be going out a little too fast. Maloney in a good spot.
Well, let's keep an eye on her. She looks really good right now, but you go out that fast, you're going to pay the price somewhere. Question is, where's it going to be?
Lloyd Barton is now getting into 2nd place. They're pretty much all counting on Aaliyah Miller not being able to keep up this pace, but behind her it is Lloyd Barton, Shafiqua Maloney. Lindsey Butler is there as well. That's still a pretty big gap. Miller of Baylor has been leading from the front, and everybody else is starting to run out of real estate. Lori Barton, now Maloney coming up, trying to challenge for second. Miller is going to win it wire to wire. 2 flats. Enough runners will run all the way in lanes through 2 curves and then break for the pole. And it is Effiong for Arkansas there on the left in lane 6 in the best position. But now in lane 4, South Carolina, Mackenzie Dunmore was challenging, but it ends up Effiong for Arkansas getting the break.
That was a really, really well executed break for Effiong. She took that nice long 40 meters to cover that angle instead of just trying to jut in and then effect that stride pattern.
So Arkansas followed by South Carolina, now A&M in the mix.
Woo! Layla Owens laying it down.
Arkansas passes well, as does A&M. For Arkansas, that's Jayla Hollis. For A&M, Tiara Robinson-Jones.
Tiara Robinson-Jones is such a strong runner. Watch what she does in this next lap when she comes off this next curve after the finish line. Watch her on the backstretch.
New American record holder in the 200 meters, Abby Steiner, on the leg for Kentucky.
Tuck back in. You don't want to run up top of that curve. There you go. Making sure that you don't run extra mileage, because every single time you do that, you're making it longer for your team. Abby Steiner closing well for Kentucky.
Arkansas handing off to Shafiqua Maloney, the 800-meter champion from earlier. And for A&M, it is Ciara Richardson.
Those splits were 51-70, 51-77, and 51-87 for Abby Steiner. Look at how relaxed Shafiqua Maloney runs. Everything below her neck is just efficient. You see her cheeks bouncing up and down, and again, she said earlier that the mental side of her training has really come into play this year, and she has had an outstanding championship.
I want to point out a high jumper on the third leg for South Carolina, Rachel Glenn. Good for you. I love that.
Yes.
Maloney, a strong, strong leg to
really
get the
strong
stick to Britton Wilson.
Woo!
And for A&M, it is Cherokee Young. And for Kentucky, it is Alexis Holmes. Holmes, the 400-meter champion earlier.
50.6 for Maloney on that last leg. That is
she
smoking.
was turning it over. I don't know if any of these are going to catch Britton Wilson. That's a pretty big gap. Arkansas, followed by A&M, and then Kentucky, and it's going to be Arkansas. So they just extend their already title with 10 more points here in the 4x4. 3:24.0 SEC. The 4th team, Texas, soon to be SEC.
Stacey Ann Williams leading off for Texas.
For Kentucky, it's Alexis Holmes, who was the SEC champion and runner-up here. For Arkansas, Rosie Effiong, and for A&M, Layla Owens, who was 7th in the 200.
This first leg of your 4x4 is somebody that is a really good starter. It's not necessarily your best 400-meter runner, but it can be your second best or a really good 800-meter runner. And Effiong puts Arkansas out in front early. She is a really good, efficient stride frequency runner for the Razorbacks and ran really well at the SEC indoor meet.
So it's tied between Arkansas, A&M, and Kentucky, with Texas trailing. A&M's going to pass first. Arkansas second. Abby Steiner for Kentucky on the second leg. Rashida Adeleke for Texas, Jayla Hollis for Arkansas, and Tiara Robinson-Jones for A&M.
Tiara Robinson-Jones, also one of those very smooth stride runners. There's not a lot of break at her hips. At SEC Indoors, she ran really well. And Pat Henry told me that she is an absolute workhorse. No matter what he needs out of her, he gets it on the track.
Mid-52s for the opening carries for Effiong and Owens.
And this leg, the second leg, it's more of a sprinter type, as you see Abby Steiner, the American record holder in the 200, running for Kentucky. This is somebody that can run a really good first 200 and also can navigate in and out of traffic.
She's in terrific shape because she ran that 400 without slowing down at all, and she gets right off the track just the way you're supposed to. Good for her.
Stick passing in this relay, as in any, is so crucial. And on these 4x4 handoffs, the incoming runner is going to have it in their right hand, and it's got to go really high to the outgoing runner, and they're going to reach back with their left hand. The exchange zone is sometimes chaotic, and the person in the front that's leaving, never, ever, ever take your eyes off the person in the back.
For A&M, it's the freshman Kennedy Wade. For Kentucky, Karima Davis, who was 6th in the 200. And for Arkansas, that's their 800-meter runner who finished 6th, Shafiqua Maloney.
Shafiqua Maloney just ran a really nice backstretch, ran it really smart, and can have this little bit of room to make up here. And oh, A&M goes down.
A&M goes down with the freshman Kennedy Wade. Kentucky passes first, followed by Arkansas. Arkansas, the collegiate record holder. And for them on the anchor, it's Britton Wilson, who was 6th in the 400. For Kentucky, it's DeJour Miles. 51.9 for Abby Steiner, by the way, on her carry. So it's Kentucky, but Arkansas closing the gap.
Wow.
It is Britton Wilson closing in on DeJour Miles.
And that is this fourth leg. It's your fastest closer. It doesn't have to be your best. It usually is, but it's somebody that has guts and can give chase like Britton Wilson is right now. Wow.
Running for the title. Probably not running for the record on this track, but they'll be happy with the title. Arkansas, followed by Texas right at the end.